Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Priha Besbarwa, counseling psychologist here at Socially Soul, and today again we will be discussing about something very interesting. This very interesting topic is called conflict resolution styles. You see, conflict is very common in relationships, right? Now this can be any form of relationship. It can be with your friends, with your families, in your office. It can be neighbor, the dukandar right next to your house. It can literally be anyone. But you see, what matters is how we deal with it when there is a conflict. Now, conflict can be resolved by fighting, violence, talking it out, being in denial about it, or simply ignoring it. But there are different ways in which different people, they deal with conflict in their life. Right now, what determines whether a relationship will be, like whether you make a relationship or whether you break a relationship, depends a lot on the kind of conflict resolution style that you're using. Okay, so there are in general 5 different types of conflict resolution style. The first one is called competing resolution style. So competing resolution style, it's a lot like win-lose sort of a style. So win-lose would mean that if you and me are in a conflict, are in an argument about something, what matters is that I win, right? Does not matter what is your opinion, what is your thought, where you are coming from, why see, the problem here is not who created the problem and what happened. The problem here is that I need to win. So I don't care whatever you are thinking. So that is a very competing resolution style, you know, like I am only right, I will only win. Now again, if you have a competing conflict resolution style, this competing conflict is very helpful when you are a part of a debate, or when you are doing public speaking, or supposedly when you know as a matter of fact what you're saying is right. Then it makes sense ki, you know, ki acha, what you're saying, and you know, you win in what you're saying. Like in a debate, you are in the debate to win the debate, right? So then it makes sense. But otherwise, in a relationship, if every time me and my brother, we are having a fight and this is about me winning, then eventually I'll just push my brother away. Eventually I'll not even care what, you know, eventually my brother will stop caring about me, because my attitude only in everything is like, I just have to win. I won't even listen to what you have to say. Alright. So a very good example is, if you guys have watched Suits. So in Suits, there is this character called Harvey Specter. He's a lawyer, right? And a corporate lawyer. And so if you see the way he goes about life is also very his conflicts are very competing conflict. And it's not just in the courtroom, or it's not just with his clients. It's also with the colleagues. It's also with his employers. It's also with his relationship, his love interest. It was always about winning. But in relationships, it's not about winning. It's about figuring it out, you know. It's about solution that works for both of us, right? So that is about your competing conflict resolution. The second one is called avoiding conflict resolution style. So avoiding is a lose-lose, because what happens in this, you just feel, oh, there is a conflict, let me not just deal with it at all, and you are in denial of it, and you just think that with time everything will get better. But you know, with time things don't get better till you don't work on it, right? Like for example, if you have watched Orange is the New Black, so there was this character called Piper Chapman. So initially, you know, when she just got into the prison, and then she met her ex-lover Alex, and then she also had a fiance outside the prison, Larry. So there was a lot of confusion about her emotions. So she was like, oh, I will just let it be. You know, she took like a backseat. She was not dealing with it. Because of that, she faced relationship concern with both Alex and Larry at the same time. You know, because she was like, I don't know what to do, so let me just not deal with it, and then everything will fall into place. But nothing fell into place till she did not work on it. Alright. Then third resolution style is called accommodating resolution style. So this is a lot like lose and win. Right? So what happens, ki, for example, if there is a conflict, I would rather give in the conflict than actually tell that this is something which is bothering me. Right? I'm not in denial of the conflict. I know there is an issue. I know there is a problem. But I would rather not deal with it. I would rather not talk about it in a way. So like a very good example would be in the series The Office. So when Jim tolerates everything that Michael does. So Michael is the boss, right? And if you have watched The Office, you know, like Michael always wants to play these different pranks and keep the morale of the company according to him. So that was not something that Jim appreciated. He was getting annoyed. He was not enjoying it. But to keep the harmony of the company, he rather would play along than say something. But it was clear that he did not want to do this. But he just thought, let me just play along, you know, rather than to question or say something. He just let it be, right? But he was unhappy. And you know, eventually what happens, it starts becoming a problem. Eventually you get frustrated, and then you start feeling, you know, like supposedly this is Jim. If Jim was not as nice and not as accommodating, and if this was not a movie series, such an employee would afterwards have dissatisfaction, would leave the job. There would have been absenteeism. It would have not stayed, because you know, then you start feeling that why is my boss not getting it? But your boss will not get it till you don't tell your boss that I'm not enjoying it, right? So that is why accommodating, which you do believe that, oh, maybe I'm coming to a common ground, is not actually coming to a common ground. You are just letting the needs of the other person play out without actually figuring out that you also have your own needs, right? Then comes the fourth conflict resolution style. This is called compromising. A lot of times we hear in relationships, compromise. But you know, compromising is win some, lose some sort of a thing. But there is also losing. And even winning is not 100%. So in a way, you are like in between, you know, ki yahan ka bhi nahi hua, wahan ka bhi nahi hua. And that's a very bad place to be, in the middle of something. And you know, not actually know where you're standing. So compromising, though we hear it's very good, but you don't compromise, you know, because ultimately then in the long run you are not happy. Initially you will be happy ki chalo, things are working out, figuring out, but in the long run you will not be happy about it. Like compromising, you can see in Vampire Diaries. So there is Damon and then there is Alina, right? Throughout you will see that everything was about compromise. Now Alina had her, you know, her ethics, her values about the do's and the don'ts, and then you have Damon, the very free-spirited guy. So if you see, throughout, the major reason of conflict was that they always tried to come into a middle ground without actually giving up on something or without actually accepting something completely. They were always in the middle. And that is why half their conflicts was either about Alina telling Damon that please don't eat a human being, please don't do this, or Damon telling Alina that, you know, chill a little. So it was always in the middle, right? And then comes the last type of a conflict resolution style, and that is also considered as the most effective one, and that is called collaborating. So when in therapy, we don't say compromise, we say collaborate. Collaborate is a win-win situation. So this means that we come to a solution in which both the parties are winning. It's not like I am having to let go of something. It means that we are coming to a middle ground that is making you also happy, that is making me also happy. To come to a middle ground for that. Alright, but this middle ground does not require you to compromise on something. Okay, here you have proper conversation, there is good communication, you figure out, you know what you want, you know what the other person wants, there is assertive communication. So collaborating is the best kind of style to actually resolve any sort of conflict, because you genuinely are putting your needs on the table, but you're also considering the other person's needs, right? And together then you come to a solution. And a very classic example of that is the series called This Is Us. So there were the two characters who were married, and Rebecca Pearson and Jack Pearson, right? So very beautiful relationship, and you will see that, you know, they were having some financial crisis, but they had 3 kids. So how to collaborate was very beautifully shown in that series, you know, like Jack was his name. Jack had his own thing, but Rebecca also wanted to pursue music, but she also had kids. And like the entire series, like, you know, it is so heart touching to see how two couples can be so perfect. But then again, obviously, if you see, you will know that they were also not perfect, but they were the closest to perfect. Number 1, because of their secured attachment style. Number 2, because of assertive communication. And number 3, because whenever there was conflict, what they depended on was collaborating rather than any other type of conflict resolution. Just remember one thing, that there is no one shoe that fits all, no one size that fits all. You know, different people will engage in different types of conflict resolution depending on the situation. Like I mentioned, if you want to participate in a debate competition, you would rather have competing conflict resolution, right? or supposedly you just want peace of mind because there is so much of emotional turmoil at that point of time. So you would rather depend on avoiding, because right now you would rather avoid the situation, go back to your own space, clear out your heads, and then deal with the situation. So then you would go for avoiding conflict, but that is for that moment, not like avoiding it altogether, you know. Or for example, supposedly if you and your partner are in a fight and you know that this is a long-term relationship, you know that there can be a solution to this, so you collaborate in that. You don't try to win with your partner, you try to win together, you know, you don't alone win. So these are some kind of things that we have to keep in mind. Just remember, different situation warrants different types of conflict resolution. But if you're talking about interpersonal relations, you're talking about interpersonal conflict, then we always try to depend on collaboration. All right, I hope that clears a lot of different conflict styles for all of you. And if you're enjoying the video, please let me know in the comment section. Or if you want to discuss about which conflict resolution style you use the most, then you can always put it in the comment section below and we can have a discussion. Thank you so much.